session. Now I would like to call Triveni ma'am to introduce the resource person.
Hello, good evening everyone. Hello, good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Mr. Mohan, I would like to say, first of all, we must be thankful, grateful to the pandemic situation, which taught
Ma'am, unmute my space. Ma'am, Triveni ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. Before introduction of Mr. Mohan, I would like to say something. First of all, we must be thankful, grateful to the pandemic situation, which taught us many things. Also, we got an opportunity to connect with each other in a larger group through this Zoom session. I think everybody will accept this. They are able to share each other. Through this Zoom, we are going to learn many things, Mr. Mohanakrishnan. Who is Mr. Mohanakrishnan? I know very well about him. Mr. Mohanakrishnan is a retired general manager for the Reserve Bank of India. He is a storyteller and wellness curator. He is fluent in Tamil, Hindi, Bengali. I think he knows many languages, and importantly in English. He has had his spiritual from
education.
Highly evolved spiritual saints. He is well versed in Vedic culture and also other faiths. He teaches Bhagavad Gita and reflection session online. He uses stories from Indian spiritual heritage. And he is going to give anything. Today, he will share his thoughts on stories from Mahabharata for handling challenges where we are going through. Thank you. Please take over, Mr. Mohan Krishnan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This being a session on Mahabharata, and Fridays are generally my satsang days. I said I do a satsang and people come online and we teach. We learn the Bhagavad Gita together. So I would like to start this session with the traditional prayer, which I normally do. We'll do a small Ganesha prayer, just a Ganesha prayer, a dhyana of Sri Krishna, and then we go into Mahabharata. So let's start with the Ganesha prayer. People you know, fine. If not, just lift your thoughts to the God you like. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Kada Shiva Samad.
Sir, unmute, sir. Unmute, sir.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Yeah. So I'm going to start the prayer again. Others can remain muted. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyoma Bhattyatta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. I'll also do 4 lines from Gita Dhyanam. Gita is the source book for what I'm going to share with you today. Om पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् ओम. The Mahabharata is considered as an itihasa. It's not a work of fiction. Only a lot of our people call Mahabharata fiction. Like once an American asked me, when are you going to teach me Mahabharata? I said, I'll teach you Mahabharata when you tell me Ramayana. So these pronunciations are where only our people say all this. So Mahabharata is not a work of fiction. It is said to be itihasa. Itihasa means it so happened, history. That means the plot of the story actually happened. There were two families who fought for property, like it's happening even today, yesterday, every day it's happening. There were two families which fought for property. That was a real story. Around the story, the great composer, Veda Vyasa, made what is called an Amara Kavya, an immortal poem. So around the story, they built, it was told as a Kavya, an immortal poem. So what happens is, there will be elements of imagination in the poem. The poet's imagination will be seen in the poem. The story being real, there will be certain envelopments around the story which to make the plot more readable, more enjoyable. Somebody sending me? Yeah, I will also speak in Hindi surely, बीच में, because यहाँ ऐसे कुछ लोग हैं जो हिंदी नहीं समझते, तो हम हिंदी में भी बोलेंगे, अंग्रेजी में भी बोलेंगे, और बीच में जो लोगों को हिंदी, इंग्लिश दोनों समझ नहीं आती, उनको मैं तमिल में भी बोलूँगा. So, around that historic event, a Kavya has been built. This is the first thing we should learn about Mahabharata. The Mahabharata was established, it happened towards the end of Dwapara Yuga. So this timeline also we should understand properly. What is Dwapara Yuga? How many years before did this happen? So for understanding this Yuga, we should understand the calendar, the Vidya calendar, how these Yugas are calculated. We should understand that. Okay? So somebody said, yeah, Bengali mein bhi bol lenge. Yes, not to worry. Bangla bolbo. Chinta korben na. So we should understand the concept of, it is not a concept, understand the timelines. 360 human years make one Divya Varsha or Deva Varsha. 360 human years make one Deva Varsha. That's why we offer Pitra Tarpan once a year. No? So once a year, only one day for them. So 360 human years make one Divya Varsha. 1200 Divya Varshas make Kali Yuga. We are in 5086 of Kali Yuga. Pratama Pada, first quarter. Long way of 4,32,000 is the length of the Kali Yuga. So abhi bahut time baki hai. We are only in the first quarter. So the Mahabharata happened between 5,000 to 7,000 years ago, towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga. Okay. Just as we don't know, we can only estimate that when is the time changing, what time is the Kala changing, what time is exact time of day and night. We cannot exactly draw a line aside and say, this is the time that one Yuga has changed over to the other Yuga. It happened towards the end of Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga, let's say about 7,000 years ago. And we are now into Kali Yuga. There are a lot of people who are going into various areas like Kurukshetra, and they're trying to find research where what happened, is there some evidence and things like that. Now in 7,000 years, I don't know how much of evidence will be available. But the Vedic parampara, which we all come from, the Vedic parampara says, suppose, somebody comes and asks me, did you have a great grandfather? How can you prove it? Hey, what's there to prove? That I am is proof that there is God, a great grandfather was there. That we are, and that we are discussing on a text like Mahabharata, that we are discussing and understanding and learning life's lessons from Bhagavad Gita. It shows that there were composers, and these composers were giants, no ordinary intellect. They were giants. They are called rishis. Rishi means one who has a vision. Arsha, one who has a vision. Rishi doesn't mean one who has a long beard. Rishi is a person who has a vision. In fact, Isaac Newton is a rishi. He had the vision of the force of gravitation. Albert Einstein is a rishi. Theory of relativity he understood. So like that, there were rishis who understood the reality behind human life. They are rishis. And their knowledge is called Arsha Vidya. So Arsha Vidya has been brought to us through the Mahabharata Itihasa. Arsha Vidya is brought to us through Purana, through Itihasa, through Dharma Shastras, through Brahma Sutra, through Bhagavad Gita, and through the Vedas. What comes directly from the Vedas and the Brahma Sutra are called Shruti, heard. What is heard and reinterpreted is called Smriti, from the memory. So these are the two words which have been used widely. Now let's go into the story. And into each the Mahabharata story, I will try to build in what he tries to teach. What does the Rishi want to tell us through this Mahabharata story? Mahabharata started one day when there was a king called Shantanu. Shantanu went for a walk. And in that lovely forest, in that meandering streams, he saw a very beautiful lady. And he went and told her, will you be mine, O Devi? That's where the trouble started. And that's where your and our trouble also starts most of the time. जिस दिन आपने तय की कि आप शादी करेंगे, आपका प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो गया. So he said, Devi, will you be mine? And he told her, Shantanu told her, you look like a Deva Kanya. Itna sundar, I've never seen such a beautiful person on this earth. You look like a Deva Kanya. Will you be mine? That lady was Ganga. She said, my name is Ganga. And I have come down from the skies. I will indeed be your wife. But there are certain conditions. If you give me a word to follow those conditions, I will be your wife. He said, okay, what are the conditions? She said, there are just two conditions. One, whatever I do, you will not ask me, why are you doing? Okay, condition number one. He said, okay, accepted, manzoor hai. Condition number two, the day you question me, I will leave you. He said, wo bhi manzoor hai. Thought for all of us. Can you ever accept anything unconditionally? Chote commerce mein, you are taking a business partner. The business partner comes and tells you, I will become your partner, but no questions you should ask. The day you ask a question, I will take my capital and go away. Can you do business like this? You can't do. You can't come to a Dignity Foundation meeting with this kind of agenda. Can a king of the land accept these conditions? Hastinapura's problem started that day when he accepted these conditions. So, thought number one, learning number one, your problem starts when you lack mindfulness. When artha kama, when desire for pleasure takes over you, then you want to enjoy. Bhad mein jaye buddhi, your problem start. And the problem started with Shantanu. Shantanu came right down to Parikshit. Look at the generations it followed. Saat purkhon ko tak aata hai. So you do mindless things, 7 generations will be touched. I'm not scaring you, okay? I'm only telling you what Mahabharata happened. Mindlessness costs you. Mindlessness is a costly proposition. Okay, let's see what happened further. So he married this beautiful lady. He brought her to the palace. He came to the palace. He went to the royal inner chambers and shut the door. And for months together, he was enjoying dance, music, and Sambhoga with his queen. State was ignored. Raja Rani enjoying inside, state was ignored. But nevertheless, it was not today's times. It was Dwapara Yuga. So the mantris and all ran the show well, without much problem. Then a beautiful child was born. The child was born. The king, before they showed it to the king, they showed it to the queen. The queen picked up the child, smiled at the king, and walked outside the palace. He said, where is she going? Followed her. She went to the Ganga and threw the child into the Ganga. A newborn child into the Ganga. She threw. This one was horrified. He wanted to ask her. But he remembered, I have promised never to ask a question. See, where does your promise lead you to? You are in pain because of a mindless promise. They say, like that, 7 children she threw into the river. Every time this person was horrified. Shantanu was horrified. He didn't know what to do. Finally, the 8th child was born. Ganga picked up the child. She smiled at him and walked towards the river Ganga. This time Shantanu couldn't stand it. He said, hey, you demoness, are you a mother? I've never seen a more cruel person than you. You are killing each of your child. What kind of a mother are you? What kind of a queen are you? The moment he said it, Ganga said, oh my God, so many years you were keeping quiet. Why didn't you keep quiet for one more child? So having given a promise, don't break it. He broke the promise. And she said, I'm sorry, I have to leave now. This 8th child is not meant for sacrifice. The 7 children we sacrificed earlier are Vasus who were born through me, and they had to be released. They had all come for small, they had some small karmas to fulfill, and they had come for that purpose. They were born through me. You mean to say sacrificing a child for a mother is Ananda? The 8th child, I am going to take to the Ganga, give the child a bath and bring him home. And by breaking your promise, you have created more trouble because I am leaving. Goodbye. She left. And she took the child also along. Thereafter, for 16 years, Shantanu suffered. Okay? 16 Deva Varsha, not human years. So 16 into 360. He suffered. Then one day, when he was again walking through the same forest, he used to go there every day, look at the Ganga Kinare and sit down and rue, his unnecessary promise and his unnecessary breaking of the promise. He used to rue his past, sit there. And at that point of time, he saw the flowing river was dammed by a series of arrows. He said, my God, what kind of skill is this? A 16-year-old boy was doing it. He said, who are you? He said, my name is Gangeya. I am son of Ganga. So then Ganga appeared. She said, this is our son. According to my promise, I am going to hand this son over to you and leave for my kingdom. I am going to leave for my realm. I am not, my work on earth is over. My job was to produce a qualified person like Gangeya, and she left. Shantanu also gave him a name. He gave him a name, Devavrata. Devavrata name is very popular in Bengal. They only call him Devabrata. It's a very popular name, Devabrata. So Devavrata was born, and Devavrata was brought up as a skilled warrior and about to be crowned prince of Hastinapura. At the point of time, this Shantanu got into another problem. Again, he went into the forest. He should have stayed in that town. Who asked him to go to the forest? He went into the forest. He met a beautiful tribal queen called Satyavati. Okay? He met Satyavati. The Lord should have kept quiet. Again, he said, "You are such a beautiful damsel. Ganga was fair, you are dark. You are such a beautiful damsel. Will you be mine?" So Satyavati said, Satyavati was not like Ganga. I didn't say I didn't need father's permission and things like that. Satyavati said, "I need permission from my father. I will check with my father, who is a chieftain of this particular Kabila there, and I will ask his permission." So the father of Satyavati came. Oh my God. So she said, "I will ask my father." Satyavati didn't put any condition. The father put a condition. The father said, I can allow. The father said, "I can allow my daughter to be your wife, the queen of your land, provided her sons should be kings, not your existing son, Devavrata." Ye kya condition hai? But this time Shantanu was sensible. He said, "Sorry, I can't give you this condition, because I already told Bhishma, his name was not Bhishma then, he was called Ganga Putra Gangeya Devavrata is going to be the prince." So he said, "I cannot accept this condition," and he went back to the palace. But every day he was very sad. He was singing sad songs, playing sad tunes and things like that. And Gangeya, who was about 20-21 years old, he observed his father's usual cheerfulness was missing. He asked the father said, "Nothing, don't worry about it." The trusted minister said, "Your father is in love with Satyavati. And I don't know why, since the day he met Satyavati, he is sad." So Gangeya took the Ratha and went to Satyavati's house and told her, "Mataji, please come. I am going to come to take you to my father. You are my mother." Then the father came, that is Satyavati's father came and said, "Are you aware of the condition? If she marries your father, her son, that is my grandchildren, should be kings and not you. Are you agreed?" He said, "Right now, I am the crown prince, Yuvaraja. I am giving up my rights. You don't worry." Look, father promise, equally mindless promise son gives. Equally mindless. Without even thinking. He should have said, "I'll consult my father. Let me consult the ministers." Then the Satyavati's father says, "Okay, Baba, you have given up your right. Tomorrow you will marry, you will have children. Your children will fight for the throne. They will say, being the firstborn, we are the inheritors. We should fight. So we should rule. This will be the condition. They will fight. So what to do then?" So this fellow took another oath. He said, "I take an oath that I will be a Naishtika Brahmachari." A Naishtika Brahmachari means one who will have connection with a lady only as a mother. No other relationship with a woman. One who vows to take vow of celibacy is called Naishtika Brahmachari. He took that vow. And that's when all the gods, flowered. They said, blessed him, and they said, "Oh my God, what a person." And he took a terrible oath. Therefore, he was given the name Bhishma. So he brought Satyavati home and he told his father, "Here," she said, "Are you aware of the promise?" He said, "Yes, I am aware of the condition and I have promised." And his father gave him a blessing. He said, "See, even when you do mindless things, you still get some good things to happen." The father gave him a blessing and said, "I give you a boon. You will have Ichha Maranam. You can choose the time of your death. Is that not a great boon? Very often we all pray, Anayasena Maranam. Yeah, I should lie down and I should pass away. And not all tubes inside. He said, you have the desire, you can desire your death. Ichha Maranam I'll give you. So, Satyavati and Shantanu were married. They lived happily. 2 sons were born. Okay, which is 2 sons were born. The first, and Shantanu passed away. 2 sons were born. Of them, the first son also passed away in a war, in a battle with a Gandharva. 1 son remained. Now, the son was grown up, ready to be, and he's also the king now. He's the king of the land. And at that point, and so second story. So far, look at all the mindlessness that is happened. And then comes the story. The son is born. It is time for, so Satyavati comes and tells Bhishma, is it not time to get your brother married? He says, yes, it's time for the king to brother to get married. Those days, kings used to go on for getting married, Swayamvara. They will be invited. They will go sit in that sabha. The princess will come and garland. So before she garlands, they will talk about the kirti of that person. This is he, this is he, this is he, this is he. And after saying all that, she will garland the person. It is called Swayamvara. Now what happened? Bhishma did not send his brother for the Swayamvara. He went himself. And he went there. There were 3 princesses. Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika. He waged a battle, defeated all the fellows, abducted all the 3 princesses and brought them to Hastinapur. So the first lady, Amba, said, I have desire to marry another king. I would like to marry that person. And I had invited him for the Swayamvara. Because you have carried me away, that fellow didn't give me a chance. He said, okay, go to him if you want to. So he released him. And Ambika and Ambalika were married to Bhishma's younger brother. Again, this is what happens. When accepted norms are not followed, problems happen. So, the accepted norm of those days is the king should go for the Swayamvara himself. He should not send his elder brother. And the elder brother didn't even ask him. He went there and brought the 2 queens, abducted them and brought. And everybody were terrified of Bhishma. And unfortunately, what happened? The brother, before the marriage could be consummated, the brother passed away. So now you had 2 queens and 1 dowager mother and no progeny. Now the mother, Satyavati, comes and tells Bhishma, Bhishma, you now break your promise. Marry your brother's wives and beget children and let the kingdom continue. In Kshatriya Parampara, this is permitted. When the queens have no children, the brothers or some royal person is allowed to marry them to continue the progeny. Bhishma said, I have taken Naishtika Brahmacharya. I cannot violate that dharma. So Satyavati said, I am so sorry. In which case? Satyavati said, in which case, I have no other option, but I have to call Veda Vyasa. So those days, rishis, especially highly qualified scholarly rishis, were called in case such kingdoms had lack of progeny and things like that. Such scholarly rishis and enlightened people were called so that they could create progeny for the kingdom. She said, I'll call Vedavyasa. He said, who is Vedavyasa? Why should you call Vedavyasa? Satyavati told her backstory. So this backstory has a lot of lesson for all of us. Satyavati was once a boat woman. She was called Matsya Gandha because she smelt like fish. So she used to paddle a rishi called Parashara every day across the river. Parashara fell in love with Satyavati Satyavati and Parashara, Matsyagandha came to Matsyavati and Parashara came together. A child was born. Matsyagandha said, "Oh, Parashara Rishi, you are such a glorious person, and I am a poor boat woman. I am left with a baby. My reputation will be affected. What will happen to me?" Parashara said, "Don't worry. Your reputation will not be affected." And because he said that, the Matsyagandha, her fish smell left and she started smelling very sweet. So it is symbolic of saying that when a man accepts his responsibility, especially when it's with a liaison with a woman, the disrepute leaves them. He was a scholarly person. He said, "I accept that this is my child." So father, he owned up his responsibility. He didn't say, no, Vishwamitra ran away like this. Remember one story? Parashara said, "Don't worry." He said, "I will not be able to marry you and take you to my care because I am a rishi. I've got some other kind of work to do. But I will own up responsibility. The whole world will claim that Veda Vyasa is my child. I will take up, own up responsibility, and you will not be blamed." So Veda Vyasa was born, and Veda Vyasa was born in a small island, and he was dark in color. So Veda Vyasa, the original name was Krishna Dvaipayana. Dvaipayana means Dvipa. One who was born in a Dvipa, and his name was dark. So Krishna Dvaipayana is his original name. He came to be called Veda Vyasa. So there is a beautiful verse, there is a lovely Kabir ke dohe. He says, Jati na puche sadhu ki, puch lijiye gyan. Mol karo talwar ki, pada rehne do byan. Ask the qualification of the rishi. Don't go by his lineage. But even if you look at Vyasa's lineage, people who study Vishnu Sahasranama look at Vyasa's lineage. Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram, great grandson of Vasishta. Shakte Pautram, grandson of Shakta Rishi. Parashara Atmajam, son of Parashara. Sukha Tatam, father of Sukha. Just because he was, don't brand people like illegitimate, this, that, and spoil their scholarship. Look at the lineage of Veda Vyasa and look at the greatness that has come from Veda Vyasa. One who has codified all the Vedas, the Brahma Sutras, the Gita, so many things have been done by Veda. If there is no Veda Vyasa, we don't have anything today. So Veda Vyasa, she told this is the backstory. I'm going to ask Veda Vyasa to come and bless my daughters-in-law with progeny. She called and Veda Vyasa came. Mother's orders, Veda Vyasa landed. And when Veda Vyasa landed, she told him, this is the condition. I want you to bless my two daughters-in-law with children. Veda Vyasa said, I am now in Ghora Tapasya. I am now 3-4 years, I am in a forest. Look at my jata. Look at my dadi. I am smelling so foul. I am looking so ugly and terrifying. So give me some time. Let me take a Saumya Rupa. Let me become a pleasant looking person. Then only these beings will be able to accept me and we can have children. She said, no, now. He said, okay, mother. So first she was sent to Ambika. Ambika saw this person, just imagine jata, unwashed for 3-4 years. Lot of jata, matted hair, huge looking, dark complexion. Fell out of fear, she covered her eyes. A child was born. He said, because you covered your eyes during conception, the child will be born blind. Dhritarashtra was born. She said, now go to another one, Ambalika. One look at this person, the person turned white in fear. A child was born. That is Pandu. That fellow suffered from what is a congenital jaundice right from childhood. So it says, especially during times when the couple plan for children, there are certain conditions laid down. So if you are coming from the Vaidika Parampara, they will do something called Pumsuvana Simantha. If you, at some point of time, maybe I'll explain this entire ritual to you. A Pumsuvana Simantha is a ritual where you pray for a healthy child. Right from the time of conception to the time of birth, the child is looked as a prasada and protected. And within a period of 90 days, you can even determine the sex of the child. So the Pumsuvana function is done in the first 3 months. Simanta is done towards the end. Now Diziniye, everything towards the end. The sex is determined and you do Pumsuvana function at a much later date. You have not understood the ritual at all. So 2 children were born. And then at that point of time, Ambika said, Satyavati said, no, give me one more try. And Ambika, she said, the Ambika has played a smart trick. She sent her maid. And the maid served Vedavyasa well. Vedavyasa knew the trick and he said, she has served me well. An intelligent child will be born. But because he is born of a maid, he will not be fit enough to be the Raja of this place. So Vidura was born. Dhritarashtra, Pandu, Vidura were born. Their education was complete. All of them grew up to be grown-up persons. Bhishma was there. Tau, father's older brother. They were brought up that Bhishma taught them all the warrior skills and very well educated. Now comes the time who should be crowned king. So they said, Vidura said, a person who cannot take care of his own security cannot be king. And that is followed even today. So suppose you are going to join an employment in the government will put a condition there. You should be free from bodily and mental defect which will interfere in the work. The problem is that's only for government servants, not for politicians. Unfortunately. Those days even kings were not allowed. Dhritarashtra was visually impaired. They said you can't even look after yourself, you can't look after the kingdom. So he was prevented from becoming king. So Pandu was the next person, he became the king. I will take this point and then we'll see other stories. I will take you up to the point of Dhritarashtra and Pandu's wedding. And then we'll go to other stories. Then what happened? Bhishma said, now they should get these children married. To Pandu, he got a proposal from Kunti Bhoja. The Raja Kunti Bhoja came with a proposal. He got Pandu married to her. Then from a place called what is now presently Egypt, Madri Desh. From Madri Desh came a proposal. Madri was married. So we don't know. Nobody has seen Madri, nobody has seen Kunti. We have only seen Mahabharata serial. But if you look at old sketches, if you can go to some libraries and look at old sketches, Madri's features will be typical Egyptian. Typically Egyptian. Looking at that figure only, they designed this movie called Cleopatra. Old Egyptian looks. So she had Egyptian looks. She is from present day Egypt. They were married. Now, Dhritarashtra, who will marry? Visually impaired person. So, Bhishma went on an expedition to Gandhar. Gandhar Desh. Gandhar Desh is today's Afghanistan. Problem started then itself. He went to Gandhar Desh and he said, I have come from Hastinapura. I have come for a proposal. I want your princess, Gandhari, to marry my nephew Dhritarashtra. So Gandhar Naresh got scared. Who can say no to Bhishma? It is like a mafia proposal, I'm going to make an offer, we cannot refuse kind of thing. Who can refuse Bhishma? So he agreed. Yes. And then this Gandhari said, then Gandhari was told that husband is visually impaired, born blind. Gandhari did something. She took a band and tied her eyes. She said, what my husband cannot see, I cannot see. I will not see. Beautiful symbolism here. The mind is Dhritarashtra, is generally blind, meaning it is driven by impulses. Okay? The buddhi is supposed to have insight. The story beautifully highlights that if the mind is born blind, if the intellect chooses to be blind, you will have 100 evil children, evil 100-fold. All the dur fellows were born. Born blind, and the mother chooses to be blind. You ignore the faults of the sons. Problem starts. This is a story we have to learn. We will. So this is the story up to this point. Pandu, because of some conditions, had to leave the kingdom. So he handed over a trusteeship to Dhritarashtra and went away. And during his exile, 5 sons were born to him. And when Pandu died, the 5 sons came back to the kingdom. By this time, they assumed that Pandu's sins won't come. And they thought that Duryodhana was brought up with the feeling that Duryodhana is going to grow up into the king of this land. But when he came and Yudhishthira was older, they crowned Yudhishthira the prince. That day, problem started. You have to learn a lesson very, very clearly from here. If you have property, please make decision even when you are young and able who should get what. Otherwise, you will see your children fighting. You will see your children fighting. Make proper divisions right from the beginning. Make legal documents, get it witnessed. Use the elders. Bhishma should have stepped in and given, this is how it shall be ruled. Bhishma said, I have made a promise to this my ancestors that I will not marry, I will only support whoever is ruling Hastinapura. He made such a promise, and Hastinapura was burned in the hands of Duryodhana. You ended up supporting Adharma. So we'll go at this point. We will see certain other stories, which I'm not going to tell you the whole story of Mahabharata. It will take me, I'll have to do a 12-day, like, Janame Jaya Dig Sarpa Satra. I will have to do a 12-day yajna to tell you the entire story of Mahabharata. Every event I can tell you, but that's going to take a long time. I'm going to tell you other stories. So they had 5 sons here, 100 sons that side, and they are growing up in an atmosphere of rivalry. Right from the beginning, there is an atmosphere of rivalry. They don't like each other. And then some conspiracy happened because of this, which Yudhishthira was sent out. And they burned down the palace. They thought he was dead. He came back. We will take up the story from that point. When he has come back, after he has come back, Duryodhana has already been crowned king. Then we'll take some individual characters. Duryodhana has already been crowned king. Crowned Yuvaraja, not king. Yuvaraja. So there is a law that once somebody is crowned king, you cannot withdraw and ask another person to be the king. There are some organizations which follow such rules. There is an organization in which, if there is a head goes away, you can't have an acting head. This fellow has to be elected head. There is no question of somebody acting as so and so. He has to be the head. So once you have made somebody the Yuvaraja, you can't take away the Yuvarajship from him. So Bhishma said, divide the kingdom. So kingdom was divided into Indraprastha, Hastinapura. Indraprastha was under Yudhishthira. Hastinapura was under Duryodhana. 2 cousins having kingdoms. But Duryodhana never liked it. And he was fanned by 2 people. One fellow was called Shakuni. Shakuni had all along had a problem. Shakuni said, Bhishma came, exploited our weakness. We cannot fight back. So he forced his blind nephew on my sister. Therefore, I will do conspiracy and destroy the Kuru Khandan. I will poison my nephews and make him fight and kill the cousins. In the process, even if he dies, it's okay. That was the Shapatam which was Shakuni has come. And Gandhari knew this. She kept quiet. So there is a saying in Hindi. Okay. One, when somebody does something wrong, not fighting back is one problem. Not even opening your mouth is another problem. Not fighting back is okay. At least you can orally say, no, this is not okay. This is not acceptable. She knew all along what was Shakuni's agenda. She kept quiet. And fanned by Shakuni. There is one other character who fanned Duryodhana. That fellow is called Karna. Karna was actually the firstborn of Kunti. We won't go into the birth. We'll only go into brief story of Karna. Karna was the firstborn of Kunti. And he was abandoned as a child. So he had all the problems of an abandoned child. What is the problem of an abandoned child? Non-acceptance of myself as I am. He was brought up as a charioteer's son. They brought him up well. The parents brought him up well. But he was not acceptable. He said, "No, no, no. I am not your son. I was abandoned by my mother." This was the subject matter of a story for so many cinemas also. I was abandoned as a child. So that abandonment strikes the child. Therefore, lesson here for all of us as parents, particularly mother, should never ever neglect attention to the child. Meaning, when the mother looks at the child, she understands the child's body language. Karna was abandoned by the mother. Duryodhana Gandhari tied her eyes. She only heard her son's voice. She did not even look of him. The look of disappointments in the child's eyes when the mother is too big. Sorry, I'm not against women folk employment and things. Please don't say like that. That why should man do and why should not woman do? All this is not the subject matter. When a mother does not look at the child does not grow up well. That's all my contention. Look at the child. Look at the child. I saw a child few months ago. Father, earphones working. Mother, headphones working. They have got employed professionals to take care of the child. The child is wonderful. All the timing, all the toys which I did not dream of in my life, the child gets in the first year. Everything the child has. The child comes rushing into the mother's room, puts off the head on and says, "No, ma." The child has everything. Somebody that the child wants Amma's look. So both Kunti did not look at Karna, Gandhari did not look at Duryodhana, and the problem started. And what was Karna's problem? It's non-acceptance of the self. He had archery, he was a Gadayuda, he was an accomplished warrior. So his station in life was not acceptable to him. And not only did he excel in all this, this is a lesson for all of us, especially youngsters, achievers, there is a lesson for all of us. What is the lesson? We are achievers. We have done well in life. The problem comes because I have not learned to accept my achievement as my achievement till it is certified by people outside. I need validation. I need acceptance. I need acknowledgement. I need wawa from others. Only then my accomplishment is my accomplishment in my own eyes. I am like beggar starting on the street corner. Hello, please acknowledge me. Please recognize me. No, this attitude of ours prevents us from taking criticism. Try. Please try this sometime. There are so many people who sing on stage. Okay. At the end of the program, the person will come and say, how did I sing? So first of all, his singing is not acceptable to him. He needs validation from outside. What kind of validation outside? There are 100 people. 100 people should say, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I am the 101st fellow who goes and tells him, this place Swara was not okay. This place Throw was not okay. He says, Mohanji, you are prejudiced. 99 people are saying, okay, you are the only fellow saying not okay. So when you are constantly going to seek acknowledgement and validation from outside, you will never be able to take candid criticism in life. If somebody comes and tells me it was not okay, I should say, oh, yeah. Remember Kabir Das ke dohe, Nindak niyare rakhiye, Angan kutir samay, Bin sabun pani pina, Nirmal kare suhai. Keep the critic in your house. He will wash you clean without soap and water. We don't like criticism. That's because we only want, yes, shabash, shabash, shabash. No swara, no tala, nothing but I need shabash. And when I come and tell them, they say, no, you are prejudiced. This is a problem. So Karna suffered from that. He suffered from lack of acknowledgement. He didn't want it. And it became exacerbated. He went for Draupadi Swayamvara. Draupadi said only kings can come. He said, I am a king of Anga Pradesh. No, Draupadi is not an ordinary queen. No? She said, Anga Pradesh, you are not the Raja. It was gifted to you by somebody. It is largest given to you. So donation mein Raja bana hai. You are not a Raja. You are not a Kshatriya by birth. And that rankled him. So, very beautiful take we need in our life. We need two types of people. Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 will tell you at one point of time, Sukhrida Mitra. Mitra is a friend, Sukhrida is a well-wisher. In your life, do you need a Krishna or do you need a Karna? Krishna tells when he goes as a Duta to Hastinapura to try and get Indraprastha back, Bhima says, remember my vow. Draupadi says, remember my vow that I will tie my hair only with Dushasana's blood. He says, if you put all these conditions, I will not go. I will go for, as a Duta, as a diplomat, provided you give me freedom, and my first priority is freedom and peace. Even if I get one house in which 5 of you can live as a family, I will accept it and come. If you are willing to send me for that purpose, I will go. Otherwise, no. Krishna was a Sukhrida. We need Sukhridas in our life. I need somebody to tell me this is not the way you should talk. Parents are not supposed to be friends of children. Please understand this very well. Somewhere some concept has come. I am my son's friend. And they drink beer together. And in WhatsApp, they exchange dirty jokes together. Father and mother is not supposed to be the mitra of the friend, of the son. He is supposed to be the Sukhrida. Whatever happens, you have to tell your son, you are wrong, man. This is not right. If you are pursuing money like mad, don't say, I am not your father. Don't use those words. Then he will say, okay, if you are not my father, go for a walk. Communication. Aisi bani boliye, man ka apa khoye, auran ko sheetal kare, apahu sheetal hoye. Kabir Das took all this from here only. We need that kind of fathers who will tell the son wrong, which is wrong. The son says, I smuggled and used drugs. The father says, perfectly okay. 23-year-old child is a child. At 23-year-old, Udham Singh was hanged. At 25, Bhagat Singh was hanged, and this 23-year-old is a child. What kind of children will be brought up by our country? Father can never be a friend. Father can only be a father. Sukhrida. Mitra. Mitra is one who sells. But you should be careful about such mitras. Karna said, I will give my life to you, Duryodhana. I will give my life for you. Okay? I will die for you. A Sukhrita says, I will live for you. The Mitra comes and says, I will die for you. Dying appeals to me. And what happened in the Sabha? Draupadi refuses to come. She says, I am not in a condition to come to the Sabha. There is some Sabha Maryada. As a queen, I cannot come. Karna talks to Duryodhana. He says, a lady who has 5 husbands is equal to a Vaishya. You can drag her. And Duryodhana says, bring my cousin's wife, drag her and strip her. What kind of friend is he? Then Abhimanyu is fighting. He says, all is fair in love and war. Hit him from behind. Much of Duryodhana's pain owes it to Karna. And when Karna is down, he says, I am down. I am unarmed. You need a fast, smart, and then again, Arjuna says, yes, he's unarmed. How can I do something to him? This is where Sukhrita comes in useful. Krishna says, hey Arjun, be careful. This is the devil quoting the scriptures. Then, 1 minute, yeah. When Abhimanyu was in the same condition, this fellow said there is no harm hitting him from behind. And if you were in the same condition, he would say there is no harm hitting you. All is fair in love and war. Now he is quoting scriptures. He is quoting philosophy. He is quoting ethics. And he tells Karna, Karna, you were not unarmed. You were disarmed. And now I am going to kill you. Sukhrita is a right thinking person. We need right thinking people about this. That is the beauty of Mahabharata. I can go on, lovely stories. Lovely stories. Okay. This character, Bhishma. Then I want to analyze one more character, Bhishma. Bhishma is a leader of the family. Bhishma Pitamaha. If on that day when Draupadi was being humiliated in the public, when their kingdom was being usurped, if Bhishma had said, look, give it back to them, it is theirs, nobody would have had the guts to oppose him. When a woman was being humiliated, stripped in public, a warrior, an elder of the stature of Bhishma looks away. He said, Maharaj, what is happening? When powerful people turn their eyes away, when adharma is happening in the society, the person who is saying, hey, you are doing adharma, who is supposed to say that? It should be said by the person who claims himself to be Brahmana. Who is a Brahmana? An enlightened person. Brahma janati iti Brahmana. Brahmana is not one who wears a thread and spends 10,000 rupees in pepper. That is not a Brahmana. He should have the guts to tell this person what people are doing is wrong. He's afraid. If I say that, my house will be taken away, I'll be thrown out. If this is the status, where is the question of the society getting corrected? Elders should say, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yadadacharati sreshtaha tattateva itaro jana. The way the Sreshta Purusha conducts himself, others will follow that. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhishma looked away from his responsibility. If he had said, sorry, I will not fight this Adharma war, nobody would have had the guts to wage the war. He had Ichha Mrityu Varan. His father told you can die anytime you want. Hey, why didn't he die before the war? After the war, with tubes out of the system, lying in an ICU, he decides for the war to end. Bhishma is a prototype of a highly qualified person who did not use his buddhi properly during living times. But on the deathbed, he was very, very wise. And he started giving advice. Once when he gave an advice of what is dharma, they said, Draupadi laughed. He said, I understand why you are laughing. Because when I was ruling, I didn't follow any of this. She said, yes. You know why I'm saying all this? That time my body, blood in my body was nourished by Duryodhana's food. So all right thinking went away. Now because of Arjuna's arrow, all that bad blood has gone out. Therefore, I am able to speak now. They say beautiful stories are there. So Bhishma is a character. Drona, whatever Bhishma does, I will do. If Bhishma had said, I won't fight, Drona wouldn't have fought. So in our life, as leaders, as I will not say leaders of the society, at least elders in the family, we are Dignity Foundation seniors. If there will be people say, we have got challenges, challenges, support. We have to support our children. How long will you support your children? A 90-year-old will support a 65-year-old son. Your job is over the moment the son is sent to the Guru's house. At the age of 12, you hand him over to the Guru, father's job is over. After Guru will protect him. And that's even today in our marriage invitation, we write, with the blessings of the Guru, because only the Guru can certify that the child is fit for marriage, not anybody else. So your job is over. So you don't have to buy a property for yourself, then son for the son, then Kuchiku, grandson also. You're like Bhishma, and you will die with all those arrows pierced and in the ICU, waiting for everyone to come and see you. We should know when to be emotionally free. Get out of the system when the going is good. That is what is the teaching there. Bhishma, Karna, people who did not do what was required to be done, because of it, Mahabharata. I will dwell on just one more area. It can go on, I can give a, Shivaratri program. I can continue for a very long time on this. Okay. But I will tell you one more important aspect of Mahabharata, which none of us should miss. None of us should miss. Okay. In chapter 10 of Mahabharata, there is a section called Bhishma Parva. There is a war field. People are ready to fight. At that point of time, Arjun tells Krishna, put my chariot between both these armies. I would like to see who has come to fight with me. Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Me Ratham Sthapaya. Hey Achyuta. He says, put my chariot between these two. I want to see who has come to fight with me. He goes there, and what does he see? Bhishma, Drona. We have to understand something very, very clear. There's a beautiful Hindi thing. Zindagi mein sachai ka samna karna seekho. Learn to be alive to realities. And if you trust in Ishvara, Krishna, the Ishvara, as a charioteer, the charioteer will expose you to realities. He put Arjuna's chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona, not in front of the Karna and Duryodhana. If he had seen Duryodhana, he would have started fighting. He said, before you reach Duryodhana, understand you have to fight Bhishma. Ayyo, Bhishma, my grandfather. I love him. Krishna says, Sachai ka sanma karno beta. Oh friend, learn to face realities in life. What is the reality in life? The person you called grandfather and the person you love is on the opposite side. If that fellow had thought like you had thought, would there be a war? Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana. He will say in chapter 2. Be practical, be level-headed. That is Krishna's advice, which all of us has learned. Bhagavad Gita, once in a year we will read, close the book, keep it and put flower on it and keep it for next year. The Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be thumbed. It should be thumbed. The binding should come away. Only then Bhagavad Gita will bless you. Somebody says, sir, Bhagavad Gita, 9 volumes I have. Very safely kept, sir. And only that day I went into his house and opened, some of the pages which were bound together. And he says, I've been having the book for 18 years. Not even touched. I said, what do you do? Sir, on Vijay Dashami day, I do puja, do namaskar, put it back inside. It is of no use. You may as well buy some other things. Why waste your property in all this? It should be thumbed. The binding should have come off. The Bhagavad Gita has given to you the battlefield. I are in a Yuddha Bhumi, Samara Bhumi. We are Grahasthas. Every day is a battle. Bhagavad Gita is meant for you and me. Sachai ka samna. Moment of reckoning. Learn to ask the right questions. When you learn to ask the right questions, the teacher will come looking for you. And when the teacher comes looking for you, there is a lovely verse which says, Mukam karoti vachalam, pangum langayate girim. A dumb fellow will speak. A fellow who is physically handicapped will jump over mountains. That will be the blessing that the wise people will give in your life. Learn to face challenges, learn to face realities. Bhagavad Gita talks to the story of Bhagavad Gita is all about telling people how to live their lives intelligently. You have to live your life intelligently. Clarity of goal, and towards the clarity of goal, you have to live like this. Nobody says, somebody says, money is not valuable. If money is not valuable, I'll give you my account number. Transfer it to me. I need a lot of money. At TRC, I need Rama, we need a lot of money. Transfer it to us. We'll say, no, who says money is useless? Mahalakshmi. Krishna very intelligently married Rukmini, Satyabhama, and all these Mahalakshmi people. It is financial adequacy is important in life. The Bhagavad Gita you must read because it talks about 4 important things in life. To be able to wage a war, you must be physically fit. To go into the battlefield, you must be physically fit. The first requirement is physical fitness. And to face tough challenges in life, you need mental strength and stability. Okay? To have an army to support you, to even buy chariot and feed the horses, you need financial adequacy and weapons. Weapons, warfare, armaments, all of them need money. financial adequacy. And all three will be successful if your spiritual stamina is high. What is spiritual stamina? Having the faith to let Ishvara drive your chariot. There's a beautiful drishtanta. It comes in an Upanishad. It says, Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram duratamevatu, buddhim tu sarathim vidhi, manah pragrahamevacha, indriyani hayan yahuhu, vishayan steshu gotaran, atmendriya mano yuktam, bhoktir yahur manishinaha. It's a beautiful picture. Many of you would have seen Gita picture at home. Gita Upadesham picture at home. Chariot. Atmanam rathinam vidhi. Arjuna is you, the intelligent individual. Shariram tu ratamevatu. The Sharira is the chariot. Krishna. Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. Know the Buddhi to be Krishna. Sarathi. Manah pragrahamevacha. Your mind is the reins. Indriyani hayan yahuhu. All your sense organs are the horses. Vishayan steshu gosharan. They will go on the road. Atmendriya mano yuktam. If the pragraham, if the reins are in the hands of the buddhi, your chariot will take you to the destination. If the reins are not in the hands of the buddhi, the chariot will take you all over the place. This is Vaidika Parampara. Vaidika Parampara said, in the first 24 years of your life, learn discipline. If you learn how to live a disciplined life for 24 years, 7 generations are blessed. So, first Balyavastha, Brahmacharya Avastha, till Gurukula Vasa is completed, you live a disciplined life. How we are going to do it? I will possibly look at it towards the end of the story. Live a disciplined life. That is Vaidika Parampara. Vaidika Parampara means I am not a Hindu. Please understand first. I am not a Hindu. When Alexander Great came this side, he saw a land there. There was a river. It is now called Indus. Those days it was called a Sindhu. That fellow couldn't say sa, he said ha. And everybody thereafter said called, including ourselves. It is Sindhu. Sapta Sindhu Samatala. There are 7 rivers there. 5 rivers of Punjab, Indus and Ganga. These 7 rivers, Sapta Sindhu. That is our parampara. In the Sapta Sindhu, there are no books, there are only visionaries, rishis. And what they said was knowledge, Veda. What comes from the rishi was Arsha Vidya, Vaidika Parampara. They said you have to learn to be emotionally independent. Emotionally independent, I tell you, I'm going to make a very strong statement. Even independent of God. Krishna says, I am a charioteer. At some point of time, I will get up and walk away. You have to lead your life yourself. Even Krishna says this. This is the reality. The Bhagavad Gita, lovely. He says in the beginning, you have a problem. Asocyan anvasochastvam. You are grieving over things that do not deserve grief. All of us are grieving over things which do not deserve grief. Anxiety, worries, hurt, guilt. All these are illegitimate. Learn to empty this space, hard disk inside, filled up with muck. I gave example to the other person. I sent a picture. The person said, I'm not able to download. I said, what happened? They said, no free space. Delete all old images. All old images, about 250 old images. When I deleted, they could download. It is something like this. Krishna's vision is not reaching here because all this space is occupied by old files which have no use today. Learn to empty them. For that, in chapter 6, he gives you Dhyana Yoga, how to empty and keep this space free so that wisdom will come in. And after giving you wisdom, Krishna says in the last chapter, I have told you what I have to tell you. Yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. Do what you think is fit. He is a teacher. He is a Sukhrida. He is a father. The father should be able to say, I have taught you everything I have required to do. Now go and live your life. Don't expect me to hold your hand and come and say, support me. I have to go to work, look after my child. It is not the duty of the father. So father should learn to say that. Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. And you know what does Arjuna says? That is education. That is education, Arjuna says. Okay. He says, Nashto moha. All my confusion is gone. Okay. Nashto moha. Smritir labdha. I have got back my smriti. Okay. Tvat prasadan maya achyuta. Hey Achyuta, because of what you taught me. Sthitosmi, I am steady. Gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. Whatever you taught me, I will live that life. I will live that life. That's what Arjuna says. That is education. Man making education. Everything else will go obsolete. Man making education alone will not go obsolete. All of us. Not just people born in India. Not just people born of a one particular caste, one particular thread. No. Bhagavad Gita is meant for everybody. There are teachers I know who are in Rio de Janeiro. There is a Gloria Ma. She's got Padma Vibhushan from Prime Minister 2 years ago. Glorious people. It's world knowledge. All of us should study the Bhagavad Gita. Please make one investment in your family. It costs about 7,000-8,000 rupees. Okay. Go to Amar. I'm not selling all this. I won't get commission for all this. Go to Amar Chitrakatha and buy the entire Mahabharata comic series. Sit down and read it with your grandchildren. Don't say, try to explain, try to understand every situation in terms of how to relate. See, unfortunate part in Tamil Nadu, what happened, there was a movie called Karnan in which Shivaji Ganeshan became hero. So entire Tamil things. And then what is the fellow? Nageshwar, what was the fellow's name? Rama Rao came from Andhra as Krishna. So entire Tamil Nadu thinks Krishna is villain and Karna is hero. I once went and some people came to beat me up in Salem. When I said Karna is a villain, they said your Rama Rao is villain. You are a Telugu speaking fellow. What kind of what is this is not just a mindlessness. It is mindlessness is better. What kind of people? And these are scholars who come and argue with me. A scholar once argued. I was driving in the car with him. I said, if I argue with him, he'll drop me somewhere on the way. So why, sir, I kept quiet? I said, yes, Krishna is the villain and your Karna is the hero. What kind of drivel? We should sit together, read these with the children. Let the children ask questions. If you don't know, seek out people who have answers. Seek out on. There are people who will answer your question, provided your question is genuine. I was 25 years old when I had a problem. I didn't understand so many things. My father simply said, go, you will find a guru. I found Swami Dayananda Saraswati. He had taught me so many things. I try to teach people so many things. Quite simply because if we don't teach things properly, no point in blaming the children later. They don't listen to me because you didn't listen to your parents. You never inquired. That's why they don't inquire. You never reflected. That's why they don't reflect. You thought money was more important in life. They are proving that money is more important in life. We are seniors, elders. They say in Hindi, ये जो बाल है ना, ये धूप में सफेद नहीं किए. It didn't grow gray in the sunshine. Gray hair, material, no? They say gray matter made it gray. We should be wise people. 4 things: physical fitness, emotional strength, financial adequacy, spiritual stamina. 4 things make you an enlightened person. The human goal is being an enlightened person. Mahabharata tells you how to be a human enlightened person in today's times. In a battlefield. Know how to fight your private war. Don't ask another fellow. Don't fight your war with another man's gun on your shoulder. I mean, your gun on another man's shoulders. No. Krishna says it's your war, you have to fight. I will drive the chariot. I will not astra sastra, I will not take. I will advise. Only if you ask me. Otherwise, see, there was a scene in which, Arjuna Chakravyuha is formed. Arjuna's in the front suicide squad comes. Krishna is driving the chariot. Krishna didn't say, suicide squad, let's go dash against them. No, he took them away intelligently. So if Ishvara were driving your car, and if you are in Bangalore and there is a traffic jam, Ishvara will suggest to you, don't take the car out now. Don't expect Ishvara to fly your car somewhere. He will comply with the laws. He says it's not wise to fight the suicide squad here. He took them to the end of the battlefield. The suicide squad destroyed themselves. By the time he came back, Abhimanyu, Veer Gati. And without thinking, Arjun made a promise. If by tomorrow evening I don't kill Jayadratha, I will enter fire. Krishna said, I'm a fellow driving a chariot. Shouldn't you ask me? And Duryodhana did a very intelligent thing. He did not field Jayadratha. Like you make a promise, Tomorrow, I will get De Villiers out to first ball. Okay? RCB decides today you are coming to bowl. I will not field De Villiers. De Villiers is dropped. What will you do? How will you get him out first ball? He says, you didn't even think properly. Then how Krishna's, when you have trust in Ishvara, how it works. He comes and he says, look, the sun has come back again. My Maya hit the sun. Now kill him. So, very important. These are certain things. What is spiritual stamina? Spiritual stamina is allowing Ishvara to come into my life. What is allowing? A lot of people say, what is allowing Ishvara to come into your life? You have to understand this very clearly. There's a plane, shaky, turbulent. It is going to crash anytime. Everybody is saying, there is a child sleeping. The child wakes up. He says, why are these people crying? Even the mother is crying. Why are these people crying? They're saying the plane is going to crash. The child says, go to sleep. Appa is the pilot. That is trust. When my father is the pilot, nothing will go wrong. A child told the father, when the child told the father, you hold my hand, I won't hold your hand. The father said, why? He says, if I hold your hand, I may leave you. But if you hold my hand, you will never leave me. Ask Ishvara to hold your hand, you don't hold Ishvara's hand. And asking Ishvara's to hold your hand is leading a life of dharma, doing what is proper. As elders, do what is proper, speak what is proper. Alignment is Arya. Arya is not some jati. Born in Central Asia, came down, drove away the Dravidians. What drivel? Arjavat Arya. One who has thought, word and deed in alignment is an Arya. As elders, if we live a life of Arya, we will bless the next 7 generations. Sat Purkho are blessed. This is the lesson of the Bhagavad Gita. I can go on. Give you lots and lots of such stories. They are meant to change our lives. They are meant to make a difference to our lives. And if your life changes, the change can be so strong. It is called tejas. It will bring about changes in others' life. I live a life of dharma. I will end with this. It simply says, if you don't have, if you are going to be a person whose priorities are not clear, you are going to have a turbulent mind. If you are going to have a turbulent mind, you can never ever be contemplative. Okay, you can never be contemplative, you can never be meditative. Your life will, if you don't know how to be contemplative, your life will disappear between your nose and your forehead. You know why I say this? You look up a book, it will say, sit in meditation and look at the tip of your nose. Look for 5 minutes, you will have a headache. Okay? And having a permanent headache is not enlightenment. Another book will say, look between your forehead. You will be cockeyed before your 1 year of meditation. They are only as though we have to understand Dhyanam. So if you don't have priorities right, you don't have contemplative disposition, If you don't have contemplative disposition, you cannot have inner peace. And it says, Ashantasya kutas. If you don't have inner peace, what kind of happiness will you enjoy? Ashantasya kutas. Krishna doesn't advise, he's only asking you a question. He says, Ashantasya kutas. And he gives you the last verse I'm going to quote for you. He says, Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopa jayate. If you have a pleasing disposition, if you have anta aramaha, all your dukkha will disappear. Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, dukh kahe ko hoye. If in good times, if you have a contemplative disposition, all these sorrows will not get permanent saved files there. And what happens? Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopa prasanna chetasa hyashuhu. You will start glowing from inside. A radiance will come from you. Prasanna chetasa hyashuhu buddhir paryavatishthani. It radiates out of you. We are blessed to have these texts. We are blessed to have gurus. It is said, Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Please understand this very well. It is not that first Mata, Pita, then last Devam. It is not like that. That is, some fellow didn't know the meaning, it put it like that. You know your mother instinctively. Okay. Then your mother points out to the person and says, this is your father. You accepted him. You didn't ask for a DNA test. Your mother said, this is your father. And you accepted the father. Mata, Pita. The father led you to the Guru. And the Guru revealed Ishvara to you. Guru Govind dohu khade kake lagu paon. Balihari Guru apane Govind diyo bataye. Guru reveals Ishvara to you. This is our human journey. Mahabharata, Ramayana, Upanishads, everything are replete with stories only to highlight this. Okay? It is never too late. I am already so many years old. Start today then. If you are 16, don't wait. I will become 50. Because it will never work. If you don't work at 16, it will never work at 50. Start now. Start talking this to your children. Talk at home. Join satsangas. Not mine. I'm willing to do satsanga for all of you every day of the week. Do satsanga. Join satsanga. Satsangatve. That's where wisdom comes. And wisdom is the only way this world can be a better place to live. This is the message. I just did not prepare. I looked at my Guru's picture on one side. I looked at, there is a Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's picture on the other side. I did Ishvara, you do the talking. So nothing is planned. It just flowed out. That is what Bhagavad Gita can do to you. My prayers, may all of you be enlightened people. May all of us have value for enlightenment. May we discover the purpose of our life. 4 things are very clear. There is no fifth reason. Physical fitness, mental stability, financial adequacy, spiritual stamina. This is your goal. Every activity should spin around this goal only. Spiritual stamina and emotional stability will come to you from Bhagavad Gita. Karma Yoga will give you physical fitness and financial adequacy. I have also given you 2 solutions. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga will give you all 4. All you have to do is satsanga. Om. We will end with a prayer. After this, I'll open. And once I end the prayer, I'll keep the forum open. You can ask me questions. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisha go brahmanebhya shubhamastu nityam loka samastha sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalinim desho yam chobarahitah brahmana santu nirbhaya sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki jai ho. Swami Dayananda Maharaj ki jai ho. Shri Krishna Bhagwan Gita Acharya ki jai ho. Jai ho. So, if there are questions or anything that you want to share, welcome. You can unmute and
Sir, our voice is not there, please.
Thank you so much, sir. It was
Sir,
a very enlightening session. Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr.
Mohan
Mohan,
ji,
I
you have covered such a wide this one. We never believe because this time is so short for you actually.
Excellent
1.5
knowledge.
hours is not sufficient for your teachers.
Beautiful.
And I think your classes should continue for some sessions more. Many of the people have put on chat that we require such a classes more and more.
yes.
So, and
Yes, sir.
also your coverage finally saying lot of
Wonderful.
teachings you have given.
Wonderful.
I feel like Gita classes I am attending and Krishna, Lord Krishna is telling all these
Oh,
things.
it's so nice.
Wonderful, wonderful. Really,
So
thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Seniors like TCR and all blessing me. I really am value it so much.
Sir, great session we had.
I'm getting connected to you.
Yes.
Mohan, this is Sumati Iyer. I'm getting connected to you.
Hey, how are you, Sumati?
Krishna is there in front of me. I'm fine, Mohana.
How are you, Sumati? Hey, Sumati is such an old friend of mine.
I'm in Mumbai. When I get to Chennai, I'll meet you.
Oh, yeah, that will be wonderful, Sumati. That will be wonderful.
Sir,
Oh, yeah.
sir, it was a very lovely session. Really, no words to express. It was really an eye-opener, especially the 4 things which you said. The physical.
What are the 4 things? Remember, what are the 4 things?
Yeah, that physical, then that mental, then financial and spiritual.
Yes.
Great,
Remember,
sir.
remember,
Very nice.
4 tires of a car. Even if one car mein hawa nahi hai, puncture.
Yeah, I think we need more of your sessions, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, Mr. Mohan, you have cleared my doubt.
Ah,
I was thinking whether I am really behaving with my children properly or not. Of course, 40 years நானும் குழந்தைகிட்ட இருக்கேன், 40 years ஒரு நாள் கூட நான் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஷிப்பா பழகினது கிடையாது.
Yes, yeah. Children are not your friends. You are not your children's friends.
இது எனக்கு ரொம்ப நாள் உறுத்தலா இருந்தது. எல்லாரும் ஃப்ரெண்டா இருக்கேன் அதை விட. ஆனா இன்னைக்கு தான் கிருஷ்ணா said everything to me. நீ நடந்ததுதான் கரெக்ட் அப்படின்னு நீங்க சொன்னீங்களே. சுக்ரதா, நாட் மித்ரா.
Sukrita.
Yeah, I was Sukrita. I am still Sukrita. Thank you,
Wonderful.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because you are the well-wisher of your child.
Correct.
If the child is putting something toxic in the mouth, you will slap and take it out.
Yeah, I used to beat, I used to scold, I used to.
That is called Sukrita. You will not say kuchi kuchi kuku, eat some more.
No. We should
won't
not
do
give
that.
we should not give poison to them.
Exactly.
Oh.
See,
That's
there's a beautiful
really-
example. See, very often when the father is shaving, the child will come and say, I will also want to shave. Will you give a blade in the child's hand?
No.
Yeah, I will tell my children today because I have my Krishna.
To tell your children, I will not die for you, but I will live for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I will live because the longer I live, I will be more. I will keep kit till you correct yourself.
Yeah.
Excellent session, sir.
Thank you.
We are grateful to you. Excellent diction. Very clear.
The gratitude should go to 3 persons. 2 persons are my parents who put me into this line and made me learn. The third person is my Guruji.
Your initiative also counts. You have done wonderfully well.
And you should add one more person, One more person is my wife who encourages me to study all this throughout our 30-40 years of married life. When she married and came to me, she was just 20 years old. She has never told me, don't go to satsang, take me there. No. She says, if you have time after satsang, take me out. So if I had wonderful parents I had a great guru, and I've got a wonderful life partner who even today, suppose I made some mistake today, she will tell me, this you did not say properly, you did not say this properly. So she is a critic sitting next to me and telling me, you are only making too many jokes, you are not telling the subject matter.
All are not that lucky. All are not that lucky.
You are lucky. You are lucky.
No, that's supportiveness.
Behind every successful man is always there.
It's a very strong family. I had parents, guru and wife, 4 of us.
Hey, Mohan.
Sashtang namaskar, sir.
Spellbounding.
Sashtang
Yeah,
namaskar.
Radhakrishna.
We had a spellbounding session today evening. I had only 1 hour and I had a hard stop, but I said that the other engagement can wait because I got too much involved into this. The beauty was the way you did it was so simple and easy to understand that it really leaves an impact on the people listening. So thanks once again for the spellbounding session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You have
Sir,
explained.
Sir,
Many people
one
have knowledge.
Yeah.
Many people have knowledge. But
Yeah. Who are, Pastor, please tell me your name and ask your question, please.
Sir, one small question. Can I ask you? My name is Ramani Iyer.
Yeah, Ramani Iyer, please.
Sir, there is a general, somewhere I have read that if you take away Bhagavad Gita, which
Ramani,
is coming
sir,
in
if you are
the-
using 2 devices at the same place, can you please mute?
No, there is no 2 devices. I am having only one. You are perhaps seeing another name by the same place.
Yeah, Ramani,
Not
please
mine.
tell me. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take
Sir,
away.
if you take away the first day, this Bhagavad Gita and the last Vishnu Sahasranam, then rest of it is only sibling rivalry story. So there is a thought that Vyasa found that this was a sibling story. This will not have any spiritual value. So he added these 2 as a later thought. Is it correct or just your thought?
Okay, no, the thought is valid because what happens when you read the Gita Dhyanam, the Gita Dhyanam reads like this. It states, Parthaya Pratiboditam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Yasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam. I read it like this. Krishna taught Arjuna, it was in cyberspace. Vyasa downloaded it and saved it in a file called Mahabharata, chapter 10. So Mahabharata is a historic piece of work. Vyasa gave it the rupa of a poem and put the beautiful Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama, all those things into that. That thought is acceptable, no problem at all. Otherwise, there is nothing much in that story. It can happen next door also, 2 sets of brothers fighting. So your thought, Ramani Iyer, is a very valid thought, no problem at all. And Vishnu Sahasranama is an amazing work. Amazing work. In fact, we have to understand this, we as Vaidika, I never use the word Hindu. I always use the word Vaidika Parampara. We use 3 marks on our forehead. One is like this, one is like this. Okay, I will come to Chandan also. Whatever is spread like this is Ishvara's Vibhuti. You see his glory everywhere. And whatever is put straight is called a Nama. You see his name everywhere. And the ladies put a red in the center because that the Shakti, the Prakrita Shakti behind the Buddhi. These are the only 3 forms. All these are available in our Vaidika Parampara. Nobody should go with a bare forehead. Because this space belongs to Ishvara. So you keep this space free, wisdom will come in. Only wisdom will say. And Bhagavad Gita is like an undergraduate course, which all of us, BCom, BA, we should study. If you want, you can study graduate course, Upanishad, I will teach you. If you want postgraduate, I will teach you Brahma Sutra also. But undergraduate course, everyone must learn. Every Friday, I run a satsanga. Many of my people who attend my sessions are here today. They have come. Every Friday, 5:30 to 7, I run a session. We are going verse by verse. I tell you how to chant. I give you word meanings. I tell you how to do Sandhi Vichhed, how to understand, how to bring it into your life. If you can spend 1.5 hours per week for yourself, the life of the entire community will change. This is my humble presence to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Excuse me, how
Yeah.
to join that satsang?
Okay, what will happen is, see, I will do something. I will give you the link to that.
Okay.
In our, I will send the link to our coordinator. I will send it to Felicita Merita. I will send the link. So they will put it appropriately where it is to be put. She will put it appropriately.
So we can join the link.
Yes, you can join. Ah, that's a young boy.
No, I belong to Dignity Foundation, Chembur, Bombay.
Okay, so anybody can join, welcome. But that is a very traditional station where I teach, I properly go verse by verse.
Okay, thank you, sir. I enjoyed the full session.
Oh,
Has he taken responsibility? He's not. So how will
okay,
he
then I will
get-
take leave. May Ishvara be with you. May Krishna be come into your lives. There is a nice song, in Malayalam. There is a nice song,
Your wife.
Sorry? Yes, my regard. Yeah, all your regards to my wife. Yes, she's the most supportive.
Convey my regards to your wife.
Yes, I will do. I will do. Yes. She sits right across. I don't do these sessions without her. She always sits. She doesn't come on the camera. Very private person. But she is the one who actually listens to the story and comes back and gives me feedback.
Thank you. Thank
There's
you
a
very
very
much.
beautiful Malayalam song. Remember that, Chalangi Katti Odi Odi Vayo. You sing and Krishna will come into your life and give you Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
Come dance. And look at the festivals of India. We start with Janmashtami. We start with Ganesh Chaturthi. Then Navaratri. All festivals of India. Celebration, prasada, eating, enjoy. Eating and enjoy in the company of Ishvara.
Thank you. Thank
That
you.
is a beautiful culture we have. We are blessed to be born in this culture, blessed to be born in this land. Let us celebrate.
We are blessed, sir, to have you today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you very much. I'll take leave.
Thank you, Mohan sir. Thank you very much for this very enlightening session, sir. Thanks.
Happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali to everyone.